So now we can create a few components in our application to test and implement our Redux. So as you remember, in our application we have a search box, which is a search form. Also we have the movies, which is the results, and also we will have a spinner. And to be more organized, I will set a landing component which will contains all those components inside it. So first let's go ahead and create a landing component. So just to be more organized, I already moved footer and the navbar files and components inside a layout folder inside the components. So inside components, I created a new folder layout and moved the footer and the navbar inside layout, just to be more organized. And make sure that when you import those files, you need to include the layout folders in this case, so you don't have any errors. You will not have any errors in your terminal. So let's go ahead in our components and create a folder. I will call this home. Inside home, I will create a landing, which will be the container of the basic elements or basic components in our application. So let's say that we have a search box, search form, and also we have a movies container, and those two components will be contained inside landing component. So first let's create a search box or the search form component. It's a class-based component. So in order to use states, we need to create a class-based component. So now here where we put our HTML structure, so I will copy and paste it. So let's delete those divs and paste. Also let's change the class the class into class name. And let's save for now. And inside our landing, we'll create a class-based component, and also we need to import which is search form component from we are in the same folder. Okay, so now we can put our search form, and also we can give this div a class of container. You know, it's a bootstrap class to make the elements width, not taking the whole width of our page, just to be more styled and more it's much better for the eye. So if we save and also we go to our app to import our landing component from components. Inside components we have a home folder, also there's a landing, and here where we insert our landing component. Save. Let's see the result, and here it is. Here's our new component inside our application. So if you already familiar with the React, you will notice that you should in input forms there is a method which is which will take the input value and set it into and deal with it. So and set it to another function inside your component. So we need to have an on change which will equal to this, which refers to this component, and dot on change, which is a function that we will create just in a minute. Let's go ahead and create our function. So on change equal it takes an event parameter, and here's our function. So basically in our on change function, we need to take the value of the input. This is our input. We will take the value of this input and set this value and use it inside our search movies action. If you remember, in our search actions, we have a search movie excuse me we have a search movie action. This action, or this function, takes a text parameter. So in our component, we will take this action and pass the value of this input into this action. So by this, it will trigger a dispatch and will trigger this type of action, and it will go to the search reducer and go to this case, which is the search movie, and will set the text state into the action.payload, which is our text, which is the input value we already passed in the form. So to do that, we need first to import the action from the search actions. So we have this action, which is search movie. Let's close this and this, and it's okay. We are importing search movie. We already exported this. Yes, we export this function. So we will export it from we will import it from actions, which is outside our folder, and outside in actions and in search actions. So we have now our search movie. So in order to use this this action or any action, the component defines this action as a prop. It's a prop for this for this component. So to get the access into the component props, you need to call this dot props and then call the prop, which is our action. So search movie, and we will pass the text inside the parameters for this action. So the text, how we can get the value of this input, we can go to we have event, so we can call event target dot value, and that's it. So now whenever the value of this input being changed, the state of text, our state or application state, which is the text, will be take the value of any input, of any input value. So to test it, we need to implement Redux. So to implement Redux inside the application, we need to go, let's save this for, and into our app, and we need to import our store from store, and also we need to use a React Redux package. So to connect the Redux with the React, we need to use a package which is React Redux. So we need to install this package first. So let's install the server, and let's call npm install -- save React Redux. So while the package being installed, let's import, let's save some time and import provider from React Redux, and in our text here, or our HTML structure, we need to add a provider tag, which will have a store equals to store, which is this one here. So let's delete this div and get the closing tag into here. And now we successfully implemented and inserted Redux inside our application. So after the package being installed, let's restart our server again. So after saving the file, let's go to the search form, and in order to use a state inside a component, when you have Redux, you need to import something called connect, which will connect your component with the states of the Redux, so of your application, of course. So let's implement, or let's import connect from React Redux, and we will go at the bottom here and use connect like this. And also we need to, if we already have an action inside our component, we need to have this action inside connect. So the first parameter will be the function that maps the states into your props, your your component props. We'll talk about that in a minute, but let's just type the function name map states to props, and the second parameter will be the functions or the actions that you are using in your component. So we're having this action for now. Okay, let's create map states. Actually, it's not map state to props. So this function basically is a destructuring method, destructuring process. If you are already familiar with ES6 syntax or the destructuring, you already know what I'm talking about. So I am just pulling out some state from the states of our application. So we need to create the function. This function takes a state as a parameter. Also, it's a function, so there's an arrow, and here where we call the state, we need to pull out of the states. So we need just to pull out the text state from the states. So we need text from state dot movies dot text. So the state is the global state object that contains all the states in our application, and the movies, you will remember that in the where is it? It's inside index and reducers. Yes, when we combine our reducers, we have a movies which will contains all our reducers. So this is the movies which contains the other inside it, inside this movies object. It will contains all the search reducer states. So the search reducer having those states. So if we are calling this state, for example, first we need to call state variable. After that, we calling this movies variable, and inside this movies, we are having this loading state. So in our case, we need text, so we are calling state movies and text, and that's it. So after saving, and I already noticed that there was some error here. It was equal sign, so that's wrong. In object we use colon just to correct it in your code. So I think Redux now ready to be tested. So let's take a look on our application, make sure that you saved all the files, and let's jump into the Chrome, and let's put some text. So in order to see, it's supposed that the state will be changed, the value of the text state will be changed into this value. So in order to see our states, you remember that we already installed a Redux extension for our states. So in order to see your states, you need to press F12 to open the developer tools. You will see this window, and inside this window you will have a new tab which is Redux. So now we are having this states. As you can see, we having a state tab, and we having this movies object which contains all our states, and we are having this text state. So this is the state we are looking for. So whenever I change the value from the input, it will change immediately. So that, I believe it's working now, and there's no errors in our application. So we will continue after making sure that the Redux is working perfect and with no errors. We will continue with implementing Redux into the other components and link them together, and then finishing. Also, we need to call the API and fetching the info, and then after that we will finishing our application. So I believe that's it for this video. Thank you, and I'll see you later.